and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a hidden gem of the Mediterranean, Malta. You might know it as a tiny island nation, but don't let its size fool you. This place is packed with surprises. Malta is a small island nation in southern Europe, sitting right in the heart of the Mediterranean Sea. It's an archipelago of 5 islands, but only 3 are inhabited: Malta, Gozo, and Comino. At just 316 square kilometers, it's one of the smallest countries in the world. And with a population of about 545,000, it's not a big place. But this little island nation has a huge global presence. Malta boasts a rock-solid economy, a wonderfully warm climate, and a quality of life that's attracting people from all over the world. And for English speakers, there's a huge bonus. English is an official language, making it so much easier to feel at home. As a Schengen country, Malta offers visa-free entry to citizens from 92 countries and regions. This makes it an incredibly accessible travel destination. But what if you want to stay for more than just a short visit? Well, if you're looking to make Malta your home for an extended period, the country offers a variety of residence programs designed to turn that dream into a reality. The most straightforward path if you're a citizen of the EU, EEA, or Switzerland is through the Malta Ordinary Residence Program. This program gives you a 5-year residence permit that you can easily renew. The requirements are pretty simple. You need to show you can support yourself financially, prove you have a registered address in Malta, and of course be a resident of the EU, EEA, or Switzerland. For non-EU, non-EEA, or non-Swiss citizens, what Maltese law calls a third country national, or TCN. You have a range of options for applying for a Maltese residence permit, all based on your specific background and circumstances. If you're a digital nomad, Malta has a perfect solution for you: the Malta Nomad Residence Permit. This is for third country nationals with a remote job and an annual income of at least 42,000 euros. The best part? You can apply for this visa entirely online. It's initially valid for 1 year and can be extended up to 3 times, letting you live in Malta for a total of 4 years. If you're looking to work for a Maltese company, the most common route is the single permit. This is essentially a work permit that allows a third country national to live and work in Malta for a specific employer in a specific role. Your employer will apply for this for you once you have a job offer. A key thing to remember is that this permit is tied to your job. If you change employers or your employment ends, you'll need to apply for a new single permit. This is different from other work permits, which directly grant you the right to work. What if you want to be your own boss? For self-employment, you can't use a single permit. Instead, you'll need an employment license and a separate residence permit. Malta has strict requirements for this, and you need to meet one of these criteria. First, you can make a significant capital investment of at least 500,000 euros within 6 months of your license being issued. Second, you could be a highly skilled innovator with a solid business plan, committing to hiring at least 3 locals within 18 months of establishing your business. Or third, you can lead a project that's been officially approved by Malta Enterprise and reported to Jobs Plus. If you are an entrepreneur looking to start a business in Malta, you must first have a business plan for either a Malta Enterprise-approved project or a sound business plan from a KEI innovator, Key Employee Initiative. The application is submitted by the employer and requires a formal business plan submitted to Malta Enterprise, ensuring you meet the criteria for the KEI or are a highly skilled innovator. If you're a third country national who is also a shareholder in a Maltese company and applying for a single permit, your company needs to meet one of these financial requirements. The company must have received a fully paid-up share capital of at least 500,000 euros. This capital cannot be redeemed, reduced, or transferred to a third party for the first 2 years after the employment license is issued. Or the shareholder must have invested at least 500,000 euros in the company through capital expenditure on fixed assets for business purposes, supported by receipts and the business plan. For retirees, the Malta Retirement Program is an excellent option. This is for applicants aged 55 or older who have a stable income and a registered residence in Malta. To qualify, you must either buy a property for at least 275,000 euros or rent one for a minimum of 9,600 euros per year. You'll also need to become a tax resident and pay a minimum annual tax of 7,500 euros. While there's no official minimum income, it's generally recommended that your annual income is at least 50,000 euros, with a significant portion coming from your pension. If you're not yet retirement age, the Malta Global Residence Program is another great choice. This is also a tax residency program with no age limit. It requires you to either buy or rent a property in Malta and commit to paying at least 15,000 euros in taxes each year. If you're seeking a more direct path to permanent residency, the Malta Permanent Residence Program, MPRP, is worth considering. This can grant you permanent residency in as little as 1 to 2 years without fixed annual tax payments. The cost is the main factor here. You'll need to either purchase a property for at least €375,000 or rent one for a minimum of €14,000 per year and then pay government fees and make a donation, bringing the minimum total investment to around €517,500 if you buy or €148,000 if you rent. For a long time, Malta had a popular citizenship by investment program which allowed people to quickly get a Maltese passport through a donation. But this program was officially ending for new applicants in the first half of 2025. However, there is a new possibility on the horizon, though. On July 16, 2025, the Minister of Home Affairs announced a draft for a new citizenship by investment program for those who can make an exceptional contribution to Malta. The details are still being worked out, and it's not yet clear if the EU will approve it. So what about the traditional route to citizenship? If you're looking for the long-term, most authentic path to becoming Maltese, you'll want to explore citizenship through naturalization. This journey takes a minimum of 5 years. To qualify, you must meet a few key requirements. First, you have to prove legal residency in Malta for a total of 5 years. This includes a continuous 12-month period right before you apply and at least 4 of the 6 years before that. It shows a genuine commitment to the country. Next, you'll need to find 2 Maltese citizens to vouch for your good character. They act as your sponsors, confirming that you would be a suitable addition to the community. And finally, you have to pass a language test in either English or Maltese. As we've mentioned, English is an official language, which makes this requirement a lot easier for many people. The payoff for all your efforts? A Maltese passport. It's a truly powerful document, currently ranking 7th globally. It grants you visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to an impressive 188 countries and regions, giving you unparalleled freedom to travel the world. In June 2021, the Maltese government introduced the Malta Nomad Residence Permit, a digital nomad visa program that offers a remarkable opportunity to live and work remotely from one of the most stunning locations in the Mediterranean. So who is this permit for? It's designed for non-EU, non-EEA, and non-Swiss citizens who can work remotely. The idea is simple. You can keep your job or your business with a company or clients outside of Malta, but you get to do all of that from this stunning island. The permit is typically granted for 1 year initially, and you can renew it for a total stay up to 4 years. Let's break down the key requirements. First and foremost, you've got to be a third country national and at least 18 years old. You'll need to prove that you can work using technology and that you fall into one of these 3 categories. You're an employee with a contract from a company registered outside of Malta. You're a freelancer or self-employed with clients located outside of Malta. Or you're a business partner or shareholder in a company that's registered abroad and you conduct business for that company. Now, a big one is the income requirement. You need to show a minimum gross yearly income of €42,000. So you'll need to have documents like bank statements or employment contracts ready to prove that. On top of that, you'll need a valid passport, proof of a place to live in Malta, and health insurance that covers you there. Oh, and you also have to pass a background check. The good news is that if you have a family, you can include your spouse, minor children, and even dependent adult children in your application. Just remember, adding each dependent will increase your required monthly income by $300 to $500. Now let's talk about the application process. It's handled by the Residency Malta agency and is largely done online. Here's a quick run-through. First, you'll gather all your documents. This includes things like your passport, a letter explaining why you want to live in Malta, proof of your income and remote work, your resume, and a police conduct certificate. Next, you'll submit the application by emailing it to the Residency Malta agency. There's a non-refundable application fee of €300 per person. If you're approved, you'll get an approval in principle letter. This is what allows you to travel to Malta to finish the process. Once you're in Malta, you'll finalize everything. You'll need to show proof of your accommodation and health insurance, and you'll have an appointment to give your fingerprints and photo for your residence card. And finally, you'll receive your permit. The whole process usually takes between 1 to 2 months. The Malta Global Residence Program, GRP, is a tax residency scheme designed for non-EU, non-EEA, and non-Swiss nationals who wish to establish their residence in Malta. This program, introduced in 2013, provides a special tax status that is highly attractive to high-net-worth individuals and their families, offering a pathway to live in a stable, secure, and strategically located EU country. To qualify, there are a few key requirements. First is the property investment. You must either buy a property for a minimum of €275,000 or a lower €220,000. if it's in the south of Malta or on the island of Gozo. Alternatively, you can rent a property for a minimum of €9,600 per year or €8,750 in the south or Gozo. This property must serve as your main home. You also need to prove financial self-sufficiency. This means having enough money to support yourself and your family without relying on Malta's social services. A simple way to prove this is by showing a bank statement with a minimum of €30,000 in savings for each applicant. You'll also need to be a fit and proper person and provide a police conduct certificate. You and your family must also have comprehensive health insurance that covers you throughout the EU. And here's a crucial rule: you cannot spend more than 183 days in any other single country during a calendar year. This is how Malta ensures it remains your primary tax residence. Now for the most appealing part, the tax benefits. The GRP offers a special tax status that is very favorable for people with global income. A flat 15% tax rate is applied to any foreign income that you bring into Malta. What you don't bring in isn't taxed. Any income or capital gains you earn abroad that you don't remit to Malta is not taxed at all. This gives you a lot of flexibility with your worldwide assets. There is a minimum annual tax of €15,000. This is the minimum amount you'll pay in tax each year, regardless of how much foreign income you bring in. Income from Malta is taxed normally. Any income or gains you get from within Malta itself are taxed at the standard rate of 35%. This structure is a huge advantage for people who have a lot of income from outside of Malta and want a low, predictable tax burden. Malta also has double taxation agreements with many countries, which prevents you from being taxed twice on the same income. The application process is quite specific. You must apply through a professional known as an Authorized Registered Mandatory, or ARM. This is a licensed expert who acts as your liaison with the Maltese government. Here's a quick walkthrough of the 4-step journey. Step 1. Getting your documents ready. This is where you compile all the necessary paperwork. You can do this with a lawyer who will submit the application to the Inland Revenue Department, or IRD. At this stage, there's a one-time administrative fee of €6,000. The documents you'll need include your identity information, passports, photos, birth certificates, and marriage certificates for all applicants. The application forms, which you can fill out online. Proof that you purchase adequate health insurance for everyone on the application. And finally, police clearance certificates for all adult applicants. Keep in mind, any documents not from Malta must be notarized, and any that are in English must be professionally translated. Step 2. The background check. Once your application is in, the IRD will begin a thorough review and background check. This process usually takes about 3 to 4 months, and they might ask you for more information along the way. Step 3. Interview. After your background check is complete, you'll have an interview with the IRD. It's not a formal interrogation. It's a chance for them to get to know you. This can be done remotely. If it goes well, they'll issue a letter of intent, which gives you the green light to finalize your property and tax requirements. Once that's all done, you'll be granted special tax status and can move on to the final step. Step 4. Getting your residence card. This part is all done online. About 2 or 4 weeks after you submit your application, you'll be asked to go to Malta to have your fingerprints taken. After everything is finalized, the Identity Malta agency will mail your and your family's residence cards directly to your address in Malta. The final delivery usually takes about 5 to 6 weeks. The MGRP is incredibly family-friendly, allowing you to include your spouse, children, and even dependent relatives. Your card is initially valid for 1 year and can be renewed every 2 years. And remember, as a final point, every year by April 30th, you'll need to submit a tax statement to the Maltese government to prove you've met your tax obligations. The Malta Retirement Program, MRP, which has been in effect since 2012, is a special tax residency scheme designed to attract retirees from all over the world to make Malta their home. It offers a very attractive tax status on foreign pension income, making it a popular choice for those looking for a financially beneficial place to spend their retirement. To qualify for this program, your pension is key. You must prove that it makes up at least 75% of your total taxable income. A crucial rule is that your pension has to be paid in full directly into a Maltese bank account. While there isn't a strict minimum income requirement, you'll need to pay a minimum of €7,500 in taxes to Malta each year. For each dependent you add, there's an additional €500. This tax is applied at a flat rate of 15% on your foreign income. To meet that €7,500 minimum, your annual income generally needs to be at least €50,000. It's also important to note that you cannot be an employee in Malta. You are, however, allowed to hold a non-executive position on a company board or get involved in philanthropic activities. You'll also need a place to live. You can either buy a property for a minimum of €275,000 or €220,000 if it's in the south or on Gozo. If you prefer to rent, the minimum annual rent is €9,600 or €8,750 in those same areas. There are also residency rules. You can't spend more than 183 days in any other single country, and you must be in Malta for at least 90 days a year on average over a 5-year period. Finally, you and your family must have health insurance that covers you in Malta and have a clean criminal record. The MRP gives you a very special tax status. A flat 15% tax rate is applied to any foreign pension income you bring into Malta. For many, this is a significant drop from the tax rates they're used to. This is capped by a minimum annual tax of €7,500 for the main applicant, plus €500 for each dependent. And thanks to Malta's network of double taxation agreements, you won't be taxed on the same income twice. Income from Malta is taxed normally. Any income or gains you get from within Malta itself are taxed at the standard rates. The application process for the MRP is very structured, and you can't do it on your own. You must work with a local licensed agent called an Authorized Registered Mandatory, or ARM. The process has a few key steps. First, you and your lawyer will gather all the necessary documents, from your pension statements to health insurance. You'll then submit everything along with a non-refundable application fee of €2,500. Here's a checklist of the documents you'll need. ID documents, your passports and 6 passport-sized photos for you and your family, plus proof of your relationship to them, like birth or marriage certificates. Application form, a filled-out application form that you can download online. Proof of income, you'll need to show you have enough income and financial stability, so bring your last 6 months of bank statements and proof of your pension income. Health insurance, you have to buy health insurance for yourself and each family member, which needs to be valid in Malta every year. Medical certificate, everyone on the application will need to get a medical checkup. Police certificate, every adult applicant needs to get a police clearance certificate from where they currently live. Proof of address in Malta, you'll need to show that you have a place to live in Malta, either rented or bought where you can receive mail. Just a heads up, any documents from outside Malta need to be notarized, and if they're not in English or Maltese, they have to be officially translated. After your application is in, the relevant Maltese authorities will spend a few months looking over your application and personal information. During this time, they might ask you for more documents or even request a meeting with you. Once the initial review is approved, your lawyer will get a letter of intent. Think of this as your go-ahead from the government confirming that you've been granted special tax status and the right to live in Malta under the program. After you've got your Schengen visa, you can come to Malta to fulfill the final obligations, like buying your health insurance and a property. Once you've done everything required, the Commissioner of Revenue will send a final letter of confirmation. It's basically your final green light. After you get that final confirmation letter, everyone on the application will need to travel to Malta to have their fingerprints and a photo collected. Once your cards are produced, they'll be mailed to your address in Malta. Overall, the whole process usually takes around 3 months. The Malta Permanent Residence Program, or MPRP, is a residency by investment scheme that offers a clear and efficient way for non-EU nationals and their families to get permanent residency in Malta. It's a great option for those looking for stability and increased travel freedom within the EU. The program is built on 3 main pillars: a government contribution, a property investment, and a philanthropic donation. Let's break down the numbers. First, the government contribution. You'll donate €37,000 to the Maltese government and pay a non-refundable government fee of €60,000. You'll also need to pay an additional €7,500 for each adult dependent you include in your application, besides your spouse. Second, the property investment. You must either buy or rent a residential property for a minimum of 5 years. If you buy, the minimum value is €375,000. Typically, when purchasing property in Malta, you'll need to pay an additional 7% in miscellaneous fees. This brings the total cost to at least €401,250. If you rent, the minimum annual rent is €14,000. Third, you'll make a one-time donation of €2,000 to a local non-governmental organization. On top of all that, you'll need to show you have at least €500,000 in capital assets, with a minimum of €150,000 of that in financial assets like stocks or bonds. For the Malta Permanent Residence Program, it's important to know that you can't apply for this on your own. I must work with a local licensed lawyer. The process is thorough, and it's best broken down into these steps. Step 1. The application submission. Your journey begins by deciding whether you'll buy or rent a property. With that decision made, you'll prepare all your required documents. This includes identity documents for everyone on the application, a formal letter stating your intention to join the program, and a set of application forms. You'll also need to provide police certificates for all adults and a clear explanation of where your investment funds come from. And for any adult dependents, a statement of financial dependence is required. All non-English documents must be translated and notarized. Once your lawyer submits this, you'll pay the first government fee of €15,000. Step 2. A thorough background check. The Residency Malta agency will then conduct a full background check, which typically takes between 6 to 8 weeks. If you pass, you'll be issued a temporary residence permit, a TRP, which is valid for 1 year and can be renewed annually while your application is finalized. Step 3. After receiving your letter of approval, you'll need to complete all the financial requirements. This includes paying the remaining €45,000 government fee, making your donation, and either buying or renting your property. You'll also purchase health insurance for everyone on the application. Once you've completed these steps, your agent will submit proof to the agency for a final review. This final check is very detailed and can take up to a year. Step 4. Once your application has been given its final approval, all applicants over the age of 2 must travel to Malta to have their fingerprints taken. Step 5 is the final approval and card issuance. The agency will then issue your permanent residence card. The card will be mailed to your address in Malta, and you don't need to be present for this final step. This card is renewed every 5 years. For the first 5 years, the agency will conduct an annual check to ensure you still own your property and maintain a net worth of at least €500,000. Even after 5 years, they have the right to spot check your documents. The MPRP is designed to be very inclusive. You can include your spouse, children, and even your parents, grandparents, and certain siblings as dependents. This video is the 6th in our How to Get Residency in Europe series. Beyond Europe, this channel also explores residency options in North America, the Caribbean, and South America, as well as various global visa types, including investment, work, digital nomad, and retirement visas. If you're interested in these topics, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, check out our previous videos, and stay tuned for what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.